What time is it? I don't even know. Anyway, welcome back to the throne room. This week, I'm joined by my imaginary friend, Todd. Great guy. Todd, please introduce yourself. Alright, thank you so much for being on the show. Anyway, no, this week we're all by ourselves. I've had an unhealthy amount of caffeine, and it's 1 a.m, so, if I seem agitated and formally aggressive, I don't even know if that's a real term, but we're going to roll with it. Anyway, good week of football. Disappointed to say I didn't get to watch a whole lot. I've been busy with a lot of homework. But it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is going great in my life on a practical level. Thanksgiving is this week, so we all get to go home and see our great families and represent our thanks over a nice meal, which I will definitely be eating way more than I should and falling asleep shortly thereafter. And I will like to hope that we play football, but we probably won't. Anyway, enough ranting. Finishing up Week 11 in the NFL with Monday Night Football. And, NFL said that the game of the week was the Eagles and the Saints, but that's a joke. I think America's game of the week should be tomorrow's game, Chiefs and Rams. And we've been talking about this game, literally this whole season, because, in the off season, literally episode 1 of this podcast, I've been saying that the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl, and I've been super high on them, and, it was either going to be them, the Chiefs, or the Saints, and, Rams are a one-loss team, losing only to the Saints, and, the Saints, I want to say they lost to the, I don't even know, gosh, I'm gonna have to look this up now, aren't I? Yeah, let me just make sure I'm fact checking this. Yeah, they're a one-loss team to the Cardinals. Yeah, they lost to the Cardinals. Wait, that was preseason. Check again. No, they lost to the Buccaneers. Yeah, just kidding. That was when Fitzmagic was on. And it's funny because the week after that they beat the Browns by like 4 points. 3 points, excuse me, my math is wrong. 3 points, yeah, it's weird. The teams that have been started off kind of slow are hot now. Like the Saints, like the Texans, like the Cowboys. And then the teams that started off pretty good are pretty bad. Like the Buccaneers and, minus the Rams and the Chiefs, but, Anyway, I don't know what my point with that statement was. Anyway, we had a very good, an enjoyable week of professional football. Close games all around. Seahawks beat the Packers by 3 points. That was a good game. I didn't get to watch it, but I've seen the highlights. Mr. Wilson had a good outing, I guess. Giants win. I think it's a 2-win streak now against the Bucs, so good for them. And the Jaguars lose again, even though they had 3 picks, which is unheard of. Because, and listen, I can only say this because I have their defense on my fantasy lineup, but they have really, I don't know what's the PG way to say this at 1 a.m. They have really spit in my face with their performance defensively. Going from number 1 in the nation last year to literally like nothing this year, and you get 3 picks for your offense and you still can't convert. So shout out to Blake Bortles for making the Jaguars not a good team and way overrated. Colts beat the Titans. This was one that I didn't see coming. I granted, the Colts are really hot last week. They won a decent one against the Jaguars, and again, the Jaguars are awful this year. But their Colts offense is looking good right now, and so I'm surprised that they beat the Titans, because the Titans are another team that I thought was hot last week. So interesting to see how those divisions play out. Shout out to the Cowboys. They're on a hot streak, beating the Falcons. And, I remember saying that the Falcons' offensive line played great a couple weeks ago, and they did. I mean, they really did. But I'm very impressed with the Cowboys' box this week. I mean, our D-line was fantastic, and our linebackers were, I mean, my gosh, this kid Leighton Vander Esch, you got a guy named Sean Lee who's been, your veteran linebacker. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer linebackers are hard to come by when you get new ones every year, unless your name's Ray Lewis. But I mean, this kid Leighton Vander Esch is like the Luke Kuechly of the Cowboys. I mean, young, fast, runs to the ball. I mean, he was a one-year starter in college, and he had like 140 tackles that season. I mean, this guy, he runs to the ball. He makes plays. I mean, literally, I saw a play today where he was getting blocked by a left tackle. I mean, those guys are the highest-paid offensive linemen in the game. Shout out to the blind side. But, I mean, this guy's getting blocked by an Atlanta left tackle, which that man is a highly paid tackle. And it's a I think it was a toss or a sweep to the left. This dude gets off the block, of course he tackles the running back for a loss, or at least, a short gain, and he tackles the tackle. He tackles the offensive line, like he wraps up the offensive lineman's leg and the running back. I mean, that's unheard of. Because, I mean, you're tackling probably 400, 500 pounds, We're one guy tackling about 500 pounds of meat, and that's impressive. Ravens finally did something decent against one of the worst teams in the NFL, so shout out to them for beating the Bengals by 3 points. The Lions beat the Panthers, and, even though Greg Olsen had another touchdown, which I'm impressed with because coming off of the injury, I'm impressed with him, but you gotta win against Detroit, man. Come on, Cam Newton, you're really messing my fantasy scores up here. You gotta throw in my man Greg Olsen. Cardinals win their second game of the season against the Cardinals. Big whoop. I mean, this guy, Derek Carr. I really like the guy. I mean, Derek Carr is one of my favorite characters in pro football right now. I mean, him and Drew Brees and let's see, who else are my other? That's not the point. Anyway, Derek Carr, stand-up guy, decent quarterback, somewhat. I mean, he had a good day today, so 3 touchdowns for him, or 2. I don't know. Not important. Man, close games all around. Nothing really high scoring. I mean, the Giants crossed 20 points or 30 points, but everything else is in the 20s. So, bad week for fantasy quarterbacks. And I have a feeling that it will be a little different tomorrow night. 2 high-scoring offenses, but let's keep it rolling with Week 11 here. Broncos beat the Chargers by a point, 23-22. The Chicago Bears beat the Vikings amongst Mitch Trubisky's countless amount of interceptions. I mean, that's just good defense by the Bears. They got a solid defense there. And, the Vikings have been kind of weak this year compared to what they were last year, even though we won't talk about Stephon Diggs and the miracle. I mean, they really weren't that good. Come on, let's be honest. It was just a missed tackle. Speaking of the Saints, blowing out the Eagles, and I mean, this was just oh gosh, the Saints are scary. And I really don't like to say that because, I would have to swallow my pride if they beat the Rams again in any more important game, like, I don't know, maybe the NFC playoffs or the NFC title. But whatever. But yeah, very important game for the Rams tomorrow night against the Chiefs. 7:15 Pacific time, meaning I'll be watching it at 6, right? Yeah, math is hard. Anyway, but looking into next week, I mean, Cowboys play the Redskins, who are leading the division right now. even after losing to the Texans, I mean, 7 wins for these guys, for Houston, dude. 7 wins for them? Good for them. I'm proud of them. I mean, I'm not like a diehard Cowboys versus Texans kind of guy, but, you know, I'm happy when either team does good. I'll root for both. I know that's not a very popular opinion, and people get very, butthurt when, someone like me is on the fence about Cowboys or the Texans. But I mean, come on, I was never really a diehard fan of either team, so I just like both because I live in Texas. So don't at me. Anyway, yeah, somewhat decent games next week. I'm interested to see the Raiders and the Ravens. Those teams are both terrible. I actually find it more interesting when 2 terrible teams play each other because it's like both teams, I don't want to say hit rock bottom, but both teams, are trying to find their way, and it's not about sustaining a streak, or it's not about making money. It's about, well, I guess it is making money because they're trying to play to save their jobs, but let's put that aside. I would like to say that it's 2 teams trying to make something out of themselves, trying to turn an organization around, and they're doing it simultaneously. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting here, but maybe it's a little. It's a pride thing. Both teams are playing for pride, and that's what football's all about. It's wanting a win more than the other team does, and so I think that's interesting to see. So we'll see that next week with the Lions and the Bears, mediocre teams, the Jaguars and the Bills. We'll see that with them. Seahawks and Panthers, okay teams, I'll take it. 49ers and Buccaneers, I expect the Bucs to come out and blow them to shreds, but I'm usually wrong on those kind of games because you never know. Like I said, Raiders and Ravens, that'll be a bottom of the barrel game, but nonetheless, I'll enjoy watching it. Browns and Bengals, like that as well. Dolphins and Colts, guys, Colts are hot right now, so I'm going to give it to them. But and then the Titans and Texans, I'm going for the Texans just because they're from Texas. And the Titans, after a tough loss to the Colts this week, let's see if they can come back from it. We don't know. But yeah, so that's about it for NFL. Actually, there's one more thing. If you haven't seen the Alex Smith injury, viewer discretion is advised. But I mean, I saw it on the news, and they like didn't show it because they were like, yeah, we're not actually going to show it to y'all. So me being me, I say, well, that's stupid. I'm going to go look it up. So I look it up, and there it is, and he gets hit, and you really don't really see anything, but like you can tell that he got rolled up on, and worst thing comes to worst, you see him like rolling on the floor and his ankles flopping around, and I mean it's pretty gruesome. So if you haven't gone and seen it, go check it out. Big prayers for him as he recovers. That dude is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. I really think that if he was on a good team, then he'd be good. And a good team. I mean, they are leading the division, but a better team because that division is weak. I mean, it's so weak. But nonetheless, thoughts and prayers go out to him. And this could be big, guys, because that team is leading the division right now. But who knows? They'll have to find a quarterback. Colt McCoy is going to be the next guy up. He's going to be the next guy up after Alex Smith, and so he's going to be the guy from here on out. He's won games, graduate of Texas, lost to Alabama in the national championship, and he's kind of been, no one really heard a lot about him, but this might be a start to a new story, and I mean, so we'll see. This is interesting for the division. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you all updated with it, but yeah, really, if you haven't seen it, and if you have a good stomach, watch it. And just remember that this could be big for Alex Smith's career, and we wish him the best. Nothing like black coffee at 1 a.m.